Insecurity is your greatest weapon. I think insecurity is misunderstood and is largely viewed as only negative. But I think it's our perception of insecurity that matters most, and it should be viewed a lot more positively. Insecurity is feeling inadequate or feeling like you're not good enough at something. A lot of people see their insecurities as something they can't overcome, something that has defeated them, something that's holding them back and hindering them. But I think it's important that we, in fact, look at our insecurities and see how we can use them to propel ourselves forward and improve ourselves. Insecurity shouldn't be looked at as something that's always going to hold us back, but in fact, we should look at it as an opportunity to grow. The main problem with insecurity is the lack of acceptance. People don't accept where they are. People don't accept the position that they're in. With insecurity, people will feel inadequate in some area. They'll acknowledge that, but they won't put in any work to change that insecurity. They won't put in any work to change the feeling of not being good enough, to get to a place to where they do feel good enough. Personally, I've never really had problems with insecurity or feeling like I'm not good enough at something. And that's not to say I'm good at everything. Of course, there are things that I feel like I'm not good enough at, or I'm not in the position that I want to be. But my mindset of this is I'm going to accept the position where I'm at, whatever it may be. I'm going to accept that position, and then I'm going to acknowledge that I'm going to put in the work to get to a position where I want to be, or at least a position where I'm slightly better. When you have that mindset of, okay, this is something I'm not good at, but I'm not going to let this hold me back. I'm not going to let this determine what position I stay in. I'm going to keep working on this to get to a point where I'm happy with it, or get to a point where I'm as good as I need to be. I started thinking about this mindset a lot more when I saw the documentary The Last Dance. If you haven't seen the documentary The Last Dance, it's about Michael Jordan. If you don't know who Michael Jordan is this guy behind me. But anyway, the documentary detailing the years of Michael Jordan when he was in the NBA, it just showed all of his training, all the trials that he went through. And the thing that stood out to me the most was his competitiveness, his drive to be better than the next man, his drive to be better than himself. And it was a bit of a meme, but there was one phrase that he kept saying over and over, and it was, "I took it personal." And when you hear that, you think, okay, this guy's a bit of a crybaby, you shouldn't take everything personal. If someone was to say that all the time, you would think, they're a bit sensitive, they need to grow some thicker skin. But the way he was saying it, he was using it as fuel. So one example was, he was asked if he's going to take the last shot in the game. And he's like, of course I'm going to take the last shot in the game. That's him being sure of himself. And him seeing those kind of things as an attack and him taking it personal is him challenging himself. It's him saying to himself, okay, in certain situations, I'm not where I want to be. I'm not where I need to be. But next time, I'm going to be there. Next time, I'm going to be ready. And that's that insecurity that can fuel you to greatness, that can fuel you to get to whatever stage you want to get to. Obviously, it's not good to take everything personal, because if you haven't built up that skill of using your insecurities, then it is going to affect you negatively. But everyone is insecure to some capacity. Everyone in some capacity is not where they want to be in an area of life. But it's down to you whether you accept where you are in the area and decide if you're going to work or not. If you decide you're not going to work, then the insecurity will cripple you and it will give you anxiety. But if you decide that you're going to put in the work day after day and try to get a little bit better every day and commit to getting to the position you want to be in, then you won't worry about the insecurity. If you commit to something so much and put in the required amount of effort, why would you worry about not being good enough? That's where you were in the past. If you commit to getting better, then in the future, you'll at least be better than you were before. You might not get to where you want to be. You might not be in the same time frame that you want to be in, but that you'll be better in some capacity. So you don't have to worry about the insecurities. It's not going to be something that you're going to think about. It's not something that's going to hinder you. Just accept, okay, this is where I am. I'm going to put in the work. This is where I'm going to be. And that's something I saw with Michael Jordan. You might not look at him at a glance and think he's insecure, but to some capacity, he thought, I'm not where I want to be. I want to be even better. That's what's led him to be the greatest of all time. He said to himself, I want to be in this position, so I'm going to work to be in that position. That's why he took it personal, because he knew he was putting in the work. He knew he was going to be ready for those certain situations that he was going to be put in. On a smaller scale, when it comes to people that may not be athletes and, just want to get rid of their general insecurities, it still comes down to the principle of accepting where you are, deciding if you're going to put in the work in or not. Hopefully you are going to put in the work, and then you don't have to worry about the insecurity as much. You're going to get to a better position. So I think it's important that we all reflect on our insecurities, on the areas where we think maybe we're not where we want to be, and then put in the work necessary to get where we want to be. All it takes is some reflection, and you can use your insecurities to become a better version of yourself. I'll see you in the next one. Peace.